All right, and we're live. I think we're live at least. As y'all come on, let me know in the comments if y'all can hear us. If you can't hear us, then that's unfortunate. But I think we're good to go. Pete, how's it going?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
Good, good. Finishing up the day. How was your day? Busy day? I know it
Yeah,
busy since
day
you're
was
just
good.
getting started.
Yeah, day's been good. Very productive week. Every day I go like 9:30 a.m. to about probably like 11 at night. Just getting a lot of stuff done. Really trying to attack our time together being in the office. So it's been great. Obviously today being a little bit of being a holiday, we were able to go home a little bit early, and that kind of worked out for us for our podcast. So no, man, it's been efficient. Every morning I get up and get a good workout in just to make sure my body's taken care of, and then go into the office feeling good and refreshed. So it's been great.
Perfect, perfect. And we'll get into the whole taking care of your body side of things. That's definitely something I want to dive into later. But as we're getting started, though, just give everyone an idea of who you are, what you do, and kind of the backstory of your career so far.
Yeah. So my name's Peter Fusilero, obviously. I'm born and raised in Mount Prospect, Illinois, about 30 minutes outside of Chicago. Um, Started playing basketball like at the age of 5, really young. I just fell in love with it. Obviously, played all the typical sports. Kids would play like soccer,
Yeah,
football, baseball, whatever it may be. But like, I didn't have that
yeah,
same passion for it. I would find myself, on NBA.com. That's like before YouTube came out. Like NBA.com was the place to watch the top 10
yeah.
plays, and so I would like memorize, you know, all of Kobe's top 10, like LeBron's early years top 10. I was just so obsessed. I would like,
You would
uh,
memorize it?
yeah, like I was that crazy. Like I would know every
Damn.
play, the play call, the announcer saying. Like I became so obsessed with the game. I would look through all the NBA comparison stats. It was nuts. That's when I kind of figured like I really love this game. So kind of to fast forward, I was really chunky, bro. I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you. Obviously, you being a nutritionist. I was
Yeah.
probably like 200 plus pounds, like eighth grade, like for
Really?
sure.
How tall were you at the time?
I was probably like the same height, like 5'10", 5'11".
Damn.
Just chunky, bro. But like, because I just didn't know, like, growing up, whatever food was given, or like, I had no idea. Like, I had no idea
Yeah.
pancakes and McDonald's and all this was like, I thought it was just food was food, and I'm like, why
Yeah.
is my body, why am I so out of shape? And so going into my freshman year was kind of a wake up call, just because um, we had preseason basketball training, that September, August period. Um, it was probably like one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I went down weight, but I still didn't figure out like nutrition. Like I lost weight naturally just because we were going so
Yeah.
hard, but I still wasn't where I wanted to be. Sophomore year, that's when I really figured out how to eat healthier. But I wasn't healthy because I lost too much weight. I went down from like
Mm.
200 to like 150. Like all I would eat was kashi cereal and spinach. I wouldn't eat past like 8 p.m. Like I'd
Yeah.
run 2 miles every day, and then I'd bike to the gym, hoop, bike back, and that was my diet. So I got super skinny. Like I can send you
Hmm.
photos. Like my face was like, and so I got back to healthier weight probably like my junior senior year. Um, but yeah, man, I always had kind of like a struggle with like how to manage my diet.
Hmm.
But that's obviously going on anyway. So in high school, obviously I played basketball 4 years. And I knew that, all right, I'm 5'11", little Filipino kid, probably not going to be playing, professionally. That was kind
Yeah.
of my realization. So I got into like the journalism, like media broadcast program our high school offered. I'm like, oh, well, if I can't play the game, I want to be around the game through some type of media. So I was working with the newspaper. I was doing a lot of video and broadcast, kind of learning, the very basic, ins and outs. Um, and through that, I was able to kind of, obviously being close to Chicago, I was able to work the McDonald's All American game, just kind of getting a press pass, like documenting my experience there.
Yeah.
Started following some good friends of mine, Connor Cashaw and Jalen Brunson, who played for Stevenson High School. And, they won state championships. Obviously, Jalen Brunson, goes on to Nova, wins 2 national championships, plays in the NBA. And Jalen ends up playing for a Nike EYBL team called the Mac Urban Fire. And I actually got in touch with them before Jalen even kind of came over. So it was kind of coincidence. So I started traveling with this Nike travel team, all over the country. Started local tournaments, and I started just going with them everywhere, just filming and documenting the experience, making a lot of videos to not only expose obviously the program and the elite players that were there, but those role guys. Pat McCaw, who plays for the Raptors, like he was an afterthought. He was like the 7th or 8th man. Torrey Johnson, who played for Wake Forest this past year, like he was like the 9th man on the team, which how crazy that's how loaded.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would make film and I'd put it on YouTube and, I'd give it to, our assistant coaches from Mac Irvin and have them, give it to coaches. So that was kind of like my start with that. And obviously like traveling with them opened a lot of doors. I worked with like the Nike Shy League, which is like similar to like the Drew League in LA. Going to these tournaments, I'm shoulder to shoulder with college coaches. I'm literally sitting with my camera, and here's Coach Calipari here, and here's Coach here. Like I'm literally just sitting down. Like
it's crazy.
It was kind of crazy because growing up, I'm like, how the heck do kids get recruited? Like I really didn't understand the inner circle that you had to be in, or what tournaments you had to be in. Because you hear like everyone plays AAU, but I mean, you have to be in the right AAU tournaments, right? You have to be with the shoe brands, and I had no idea until I started working with them, and it just kind of gave me a better understanding for the business. But yeah, so I met a number of coaches. Met Jarrence Howard from Kansas. Our high school team actually went to Kansas for like a team camp, so I even got to see the campus there and kind of fell in love with it. And I was fortunate enough to do work in the video department and do a lot of like the recruiting type videos for men's and women's basketball. It was a great experience, great 4 years, developed a lot of relationships. Shout out to guys like Devontae Graham, Steve Mikhailou, Malik Newman. Met my girlfriend there. Like it was the best 4 years. Like Lawrence, Kansas is incredible. Just the atmosphere, seeing 16,000 sold out. I'm sitting there with my camera on the baseline. It was unreal, and to see some crazy games, to see that environment. And then, but like during my time away from Kansas, I was starting to like kind of really like player development, and really how helping players and individually and small groups and how that translated to the bigger game. I was kind of already helping my high school program when I go back during the summer. I was kind of working with some local kids, some local Division III kids, just trying to get my feet wet. Like had no real understanding. I was watching a ton of YouTube videos, like trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But where I really learned it is when I started shadowing a ton of coaches. So shout out my guy Stefan Martinez of Dig Duke Basketball. He's kind of my mentor and big brother. To this day, I'm always still learning from him. I was going with him when he started his first pre-draft in New Orleans. I was going with him to his local town in like Missouri. It's called Deloge, which is about an hour south of St. Louis. I was shadowing D Brown, obviously, famously played for the Illini in 2005. I was just helping Jeff Pagliacca, who works with Frank Kaminsky, Pat Beverly. Like, I was just trying to be in as many rooms as possible to really understand the structure of player development, how you build relationship with these players, how you build trust, how important film is. Because I was on one side of it where it was more so recruiting and like kind of like the, social side of it. And I was still trying to do coaching. So it was an important skill set to have. But seeing that, I'm like, I know, like I said before, like my passion is the game. I use the video camera, recruiting, all this skill set to be around it, to be in that circle, right? And it was kind of my avenue to get to coaching and get into that path. So, so I would go back. Like I said, I was helping D Brown a ton, and Coach McClain, who was the head coach at the time. Obviously now he's at Georgia with me. He saw me in the gym all the time, just helping, just just trying to be a student of the game, coming to practices. I had my notepad. I come to games, just trying to learn whatever I could. And I remember winter break, when we go back home, I went down for a practice, and I just asked him, I'm like, do you think there would be a potential opportunity to be a graduate assistant for you after I'm done with Kansas? And he's like, I think that should be possible, Pete. Let's just stay in touch. So, all of spring, I'm thinking like, all right, this is going to happen. Like, I'm just kind of speaking it, hopefully trying to speak it into existence, still nothing promised. I was, going to Chicago State. I remember I drove freaking 6 hours or 8 hours from like Lawrence to SIU Carbondale just to kind of see my guy, John Clancy, who was a double at the time. Just like I said, trying to be in these gyms and trying to just learn whatever I could and just kind of, build relationships and a connection somehow. But thankfully, Coach McClain and D. Brown hit me in May. And to make a long story short, I graduated in Lawrence on Sunday. I was in his office on Wednesday signing the paperwork and making it official. I remember I came in with like a shirt and tie. He's like, "What the heck are you wearing?" He's like, So it was kind of funny. Had a great year, man. We went all the way to the Horizon League tournament championship. Unfortunately, fell short, but had such a great relationship with those guys. Jamie Hale, Rob Howard. Those are two guys I'm extremely close with. But everyone on that team, man, from not only our managers to Gabe Derman, our strength coach, Mike Kelly, our assistant Dobo, Phil Gall, who was our Dobo at the time, and we had a great Rod Clark, Coach Tony Harvey. Like, we had a great group, man, and learned a ton, man. And thankfully, obviously, not really thankfully, but unfortunately, Coach McClain got let go. But thankfully, he got an assistant position at Georgia, and he, gave me the opportunity to come with him. And it was a tough decision because obviously I love those players. D. Brown is staying. Coach Yaklich is an incredible coach, but from the NBA people I talked with, and obviously my family, it was the best decision, for me moving forward. And to be at a program in the SEC at a prestigious school like Georgia, it's been a blessing, man. I've only been here I got here June 7th for about 2 weeks, been in the office for a week, and I feel like a sponge, man. Like, the amount of gems and nuggets Coach Crean is giving on a daily basis, and like today we were just sitting in his office and we were just watching player development tape on Vic Oladipo, and I'm just sitting there with my notepad, just listening, just trying to soak it all in, man. And all of our coaches, I think all of our coaches are lifelong learners, and to have kind of Coach Crean at the helm and leading us, it's a blessing, man. To see even like a program like Kansas be so successful, and obviously he was at Indiana, Marquette. I'm just thankful to be around high-level basketball players, high-level people with great energy, and just people that want to not only see players be successful, but the coaches around them successful. So it's been great, man.
Love it. Well, first of all, congratulations. I think that needs to be said from the get-go. It's definitely well deserved, and it's that's awesome. And like you said, learning a ton. What's one thing? I mean, you said you learned, like, there's a bunch of things that have stood out so far, but like, what's one thing like Coach Crean has said, or you've kind of picked up on the last couple of days, last couple of weeks that like really stuck with you so far?
This is something that's not what he said. It's just his energy and his work ethic. He commands a room, with his presence, with his high level communication. And like I said, we're getting in there at 9:30 and we're productive. It's not like we're just sitting there 9:30, 11, just kind of, we're getting stuff done, and he's holding up to the highest standard. And for some people that might be uncomfortable, right? Some people don't want to be in the office all day like that. Maybe you don't love it enough. Obviously, if you have a wife and family, for sure. But for guys like me who are just be in the office, be on court, just go home and get a good meal and sleep. Like we breathe this stuff, and he's just trying to put that same kind of atmosphere or that mindset onto his coaches. And so that's the biggest thing. Obviously, he said a lot, some things that maybe I probably shouldn't say just because it's private with Georgia basketball, but
for sure.
that's something that's I immediately pick up right away.
Love it, love it. And kind of rewinding a little bit, what made you want to go into coaching, like really pursue this and
Yeah.
kind of work your way up the ranks?
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing is impacting people and helping others, through the game of basketball, and more so on the player development end. That's where I really gravitate towards because, you know, it's obviously, you break down a player's film, you're tactical, you're
Yeah,
strategic with how you're helping them, but it's those conversations before you get on court. It's the conversation after, it's instilling life lessons, that not only will help them right on court, but when they become a professional, right? Not and it might not be in basketball, but it's when if they go on the court in the corporate world or when they have a family, it's trying to help instill those values, that I think is the biggest reason for me because I'm a man of my faith. I believe that God blesses us to bless others and to be a servant, and I'm trying to use the game to do that, And I think the video camera was a way to help people too, right? Just to film and to get their content out, but to have
yeah.
a direct relationship and to really be on the day-to-day grind with somebody and to help them achieve their goals. That's the biggest thing. That's the real reason why I went to coaching, was to help people achieve their goals, because there's been plenty of people that have helped me and shaped me to who I am, and that's a credit to my parents, my high school coach, and a ton of other mentors, man. So that's the real reason.
Got you, got you. And over the years, as you've kind of been in the basketball world, like you mentioned earlier, like building relationships is super, super important. And that's something I've very quickly learned in trying to work with guys on their nutrition. Like they're not going to listen to a thing you say about nutrition unless like they mess with you. So you got to really like build those relationships and make sure like you're like they know you're on their team. So how were you able to build those relationships and be so successful with fostering those relationships and building those over time with, especially with like higher level players who tend to be like more talented and maybe a little less prone to ask for help or look for help? How were you able to break through and like really build relationships with them?
I think the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things, is being prepared, and being
Yeah.
honest with them. When you're prepared, when Evan Turner hits me at 4:30, tells me the night before, hey, 5 a.m. workout. All right, well, I'm breaking down all of your film. Everything there's a plan to it, right? These are all the possessions, where that plays to your strengths, right? So you do really well playing out of the post, right? Mid post. You do a really good job of playing out of ball screen, right? So these are the actions that you're going to get in game. All right, now we're gonna transfer that on the court, because there's a lot of guys that will, and you cater to them as well, right? I'm not going to
Yeah.
give, JJ Redick, a ton of, isolation, all these
Yeah.
combo BS. Like, that's not it, man. Like, you have to cater to that player, right? And that's part of preparation, is that film component. But another thing too is like being honest with them, right? Not just being a yes man, holding them accountable. It's a fine line, right? Because obviously NBA players are at such a high standard. So you have to be efficient with your communication,
Yeah.
and it's gotta reach them without being too pushy, or like their attention span isn't too long, so it's got to be quick, it's got to be efficient. But just being able to relate with them, just being able to talk about not only basketball but just life. I feel like myself, being 23 years old, I can still relate to a lot of these guys, you know, and whether that's just music or just the everyday lifestyle, just little things like that. That I think that plays a big role too, just because we're going through similar points in life. Like I just went through college. I'm still technically in college, right, getting my master's. So
Yeah.
I'm at a point in my life where I can still relate, and I think as long as you have a good friendship, a good relationship, but it's professional at the end of the day, because you want to help them to the game, and not just be buddy and let them BS or whatnot. So it's a balance, but I think preparation, being honest, and just being yourself, and being able to relate, I think is super important.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of diving deeper into the preparation side of things, because that's definitely like super important. What are you doing? I know you mentioned watching film and stuff like that, but how are you preparing for, let's say you got like an NBA player you're getting in the gym with, or a high level college player you're getting in the gym with? Like how are you going about preparing for that workout to make it the best possible workout for that player?
Yeah, I think credit Drew Hanlon. It's and Aaron Weaver, or not Aaron Weaver, TJ Saint. They created what's called a SWOT analysis for basketball, essentially. So obviously, SWOT analysis for in school, but SWOT analysis in basketball is you go over that film, you're analyzing their strengths, you're analyzing, where are their weaknesses, where are their opportunities to improve, and where are threats. And threats could be anything from off the court habits. It could be their nutrition, like you said. That's hurting them. That is super important. And I was just talking, we have a coach on staff named Dice, and he was with the Bulls and Pistons, and I was showing him my SWOT analysis for our guys for Georgia, and he gave me a lot of corrections where, all right, this needs to be more detailed, right? Because I was having, all right, Xavier Wheeler, he's very shifty, does a good job of changing directions, right? He's like, well, be more detailed, right? Does he have a quick first step? Does he have a quick second step? Is it a right to left crossover? Is it a left to right crossover? So I'm still, in a stage of my career where I still need to improve upon that. And breaking down, the different levels of the game, right? So his finishing, right? Does he obviously finishes really well getting to the left, right? Does he need, same hand, same foot, package? Does he need, a different goofy series? Does he need, in terms of shot mechanics, is he not driving his wrist, right? Is he not driving his elbow through his shoulder, right? Is he twisting? Is he not freezing his hips? So it's the different micro scales and different things things like that, you can touch upon, but that's more so kind of for yourself. And then when you get with the player, you want to make sure it's simple and you're keying in on one thing at a time. But it's also, breaking down concepts as well. Like when you're working out with a player, like I said with Evan Turner, like you have to put them in positions what they're going to do in their offense. So with Evan Turner, he gets a lot of stuff at the mid post, right? He gets a lot of stuff, out of step up ball screens, right? And then what's Xavier Wheeler doing, right? Xavier Wheeler might not be, he's not playing out the mid post, right? He's getting a ton of horns ball screens. He's getting he's able to attack along. He's getting a step-up screen where he's attacking along the baseline, and he's having trouble making baseline read decisions, right? Is he leaving his feet, right? Is he not Steve Nashing it through and hitting the baseline drift, And and you go and it depends how long you have with the player. It could be just a one-time deal, or it could be you could be doing the pre-draft, right? So you're able to kind of progress naturally, which is what Cody Toppert and Nick Freeman, they call it scripted, read it, play it. So like for a period of time, we might be scripting the action, right? We might be helping their skill set, right? All right, we're telling you same hand, same foot. We're telling you veer step. We're telling you right, a stride step finish, But now, okay, that we're scripting that. Now, like basketball is a decision-making game, right? So I have to be able to read it. So maybe I'm having coach defenders or a manager or someone just kind of be there. Right, this is in the NBA level or whatnot, and they're coming off, and they just so happen to find same hand, same foot finish to miss time the big rotating over, right? And then now we're playing, all right. Now we're going 2v2, 3-on-3, where hopefully everything we've built up to, now you're seeing it in small-sided games. Like I said, it just depends how long you have with the player, but that's kind of a way to help prepare them and go through their film. So to make a long story kind of short.
Yeah, no, that last part especially I think is really important, because I think a lot of players, especially younger players, tend to like really focus on repping things out, but struggle to make reads and struggle to actually make games. I know this, like during my playing career, is definitely something I struggle with at times. Like making the correct read. And it's like, yeah, you can do a move great in a workout when there's no defender guarding you or when there's one defender guarding you. But what happens when you got to make a read in the game? And I think that's definitely super important. I like how you put that the script it, read it, play it. So
Yep.
that's great. And we got a question I think that relates to player development. So let me bring it up on the screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. Matthew asked us, for a player in the offseason, is it more important to focus on sharpening our strengths, like ball handling, or address a threat in our game, like shooting? I'm assuming for that second part, he's saying address like a weakness in your game. So, like, would you rather heavily focus on sharpening your strengths or like kind of filling holes in your game? Like, what's your approach to that?
Yeah, no, he kind of hit it on the head. Yeah, you have to maximize your strengths, right? What are you great at the end of the day? You know, so for a guy like Klay Thompson, right? You know, he's a spot up guy, right?
Yeah.
Catch and shoot, coming off screens, you know, and he's not ever in an isolation situation, right? You know, trail threes, like you're gonna give Klay Thompson everything he's great at in a workout, right? And so maybe he wants to work on catching and ripping it, right? Maybe 2 dribbles to the rim. Maybe working on a two dribble pull up. Maybe he's weak kind of in a floater, right? But he's gonna work on one thing, maybe 2 things in the summertime that are quote unquote weaknesses or quote unquote opportunities to improve, right? And just keying on one thing, right? You can't do everything, right? You might have holes in your game, you know, in a number of places, but in reality, in the off season, you only can focus on maybe 1 to 2 things, right? And so it's important though, right? Maximize your strengths. Like if you're great at, you know, playing, you know, cutting off the ball, right? Kind of, you know, catching and ripping it, getting to your spot. That's great.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe you need to improve upon your catch and shoot, right? You're just working on, you know, maybe it starts with form shooting, right? Just breaking down your mechanics, right? Where are your flaws, right? And then how you build on that is like, say, for example, shooting is, you know, a weakness or a place to improve. You have to be creative in how you work on that, you know, individually or in a small group setting, right? Are you shooting for efficiency, right? Don't just shoot 5 shots, right? We got to get 5 out of 7 to get out, right? Or, you know, Celtics do this for pre-draft, right? He's got to get 2 in a row, you know, 5 spots in back in under 2 minutes, right? So if you're only getting to maybe the wing, like you're not even getting back, or you just get to the wing in 2 minutes, all right, well, we know we can measure it, right? What gets measured gets done, and that's something that Coach Yakos, before I left, you know, kind of hammered home. So it's important to track makes. It's important to, you know, see how you're improving, right? Because if we just go in the gym and we're just working on shooting, but we're not, you know, putting a number to it, or we don't have a gauge of where we're at right now and how we can improve from there, you know, that kind of hurts us. So I think that's it's really important to, right, keying up, maximize your strengths, right? The 2-3 things that you do great, and then focus on maybe one thing in the off season that you'd like to improve or sharpen.
Cool. And then we got another question asking best way to get better for in-game situations. So how would you approach that?
Just play. You have to play, right? The best way to get better for in-game is to play games, right? You have to, whether it's pick up, right? Whether you're playing 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, right? The best way to make game situations, obviously there's, you know, small-sided games and practices or certain like drills that can do it, but the best way to get better in game is to play basketball, is to play fives. And I know that's kind of becoming a lost art, you know, in today's society. Kids aren't going to the local rec center, grabbing 5, you know, and playing.
Yeah, especially today with the whole COVID thing going on.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, with COVID, it's tough, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, hopefully, I started to see kids already getting into it, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing, though. When COVID gets lifted, right, it's to play. You know, it's to play 1-on-1, 2-on-2, you know, 3-on-3, and then progress to 5s, right? That's the biggest thing. But like I said, like when everything cleared, bro, like it's sad that like when I was growing up, like there was this place called the Recplex, and it'd be a ton of like older guys, like
Oh yeah.
middle-aged guys, like guys that were in college still, and like I'm like the freshman, sophomore high school kid, and like, and like that's how you get better though. Like they'll make you tougher. You lose, you got to sit out, right? That's tough. So, it teaches you how you can impact the game, right? Because you're playing with older guys. Like you're not gonna get the ball.
Yeah.
So how can you impact the game in other ways? And how can you, maximize success with guys that you might not know, right? So you just got to be a great team player, So come time when you're playing with, 5 guys that you built such great chemistry with in high school and whatnot, it becomes easier. So I think that's the best way to, prepare for in-game situations.
Yeah. Awesome. Then we got Ryan in here. Shout out Ryan. Thanks for
my guy Ryan Deppin. Shout out Kansas, baby. Shout out
yes, sir.
Stand up.
What's your Ryan asks, what's your favorite way to set up a live 3v3 drill?
Ooh, great question. So sometimes I'll start it off with I'll have a guy loaded in the corner, right? So same side corner, right? They can be in the left corner, right? And I'll have the point guard or the guard or the ball handler will start in the left slot, right? And I might have the big or another player start the block, and they'll initiate it, come up with a ball screen, right? Or he'll flash, right? And I'll have the ball handler, enter it in to the post, and now we're playing, right? So he can enter it into the post. He can go screen away for the guard in the corner. He can fly off the handoff. He can fly off the handoff, get a re-screen, come back, and we're playing, right? So those are good ways to initiate action, right? Say we can start off in like a floppy action. So ball is at the top of the key. We're setting maybe a wide pin down, or he's coming off like a Kyle Korver. He's underneath the basket, and he can pick which way he wants to go.
Yeah.
Right. So I like pin down action. So like this. I'll start off with like if it's 2v2, I'll be the passer, right? And we'll have it's those guys guarding each other, how to guard a pin down, and the biggest thing is for defense. How are you guys communicating that? Are you switching everything, or are you weakening it, right? Are you trying to ice it, right? So now you're getting better at your ball screen coverages, right? And your off ball cover and off ball screen coverages. So those are some ways, right? Either starting off with some type of ball screen, DHO, maybe get action, or I like a lot of pin downs, or like floppy action. Those are some good ways for 3-on-3.
Dope. And then this next one's a really good question. Alex, a lot. It's is there any way to train the skill of handling pressure by yourself in a workout, or do you have to be out in live game situations?
Handling pressure, meaning probably like ball handling and whatnot?
Yeah, I think it could go either way, like either ball handling or just pressure in general, like shooting under pressure or something like that. But I guess in general, like creating a sense of pressure, like if you're by yourself in the gym.
Yeah, so like if you're by yourself, I mean, I'll do this. Like, shoot, if I'm doing a ball handling drill, I have to, get all the way down from maybe baseline to half court, right? If I'm just pushing myself back, I go. If I'm just doing like just tight ball handling, right? Maybe it's an in and out cross between behind, right? And I can't mess up, right? I have to be sharp. I have to make sure if I mess up, I start all the way start over again, right? So putting pressure on yourself from a mental standpoint is how efficient can I really be? But when it comes to somebody really checking you, or the best way, like in game, but like playing is if it's you and a partner, play alley drill, right? It's it's the sideline, and then probably the free throw line, lane line starts like the pro lane, right? And so you got that much space. You're playing one, and you basically just going ones, right? You're trying to beat them, you're trying to break them down. Defense, you're trying to speed them up. You can foul, like get into them, right? Allow fouling so you can handle physicality, right? Because in a game, if he gets up in you and he's hacking like that, it's gonna be a foul, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good way of say you don't have fives, right? You have a partner, right? And you're going up and down like that. So So to the first one where if you're by yourself, put a time on it, right? Put
Mm-hmm.
accountability on it, right? Because if you mess up, I got to start all over again, right? Or I got to pound. I got to and you know it, right? I'm not pounding hard enough. That's a crappy rep. I got to do it again, right? Even if you get through it perfect, like I can go harder. I can get another rep, right? Overtime. Let's do it again. You know what I mean? So, I think there's different ways to put pressure on you mentally, but obviously from a game standpoint, if you have a partner, that's a alley drill is a great one, man. Just to get up and down and guard and it's a conditioner. That's the biggest thing. It's a conditioner because the best way to get in game shape is to play basketball, right? And guarding full court is. I'm trusting me. You go 2 trips.
Oh, I believe you, bro. You don't have to convince me.
You're gonna be
You don't got to
tired
convince me on that one.
for sure. Great cardio. Great cardio. I love it, man.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like I haven't been able to play because I mean I'm in LA and the quarantine stuff is still pretty like still relatively strict over here. And I know like I'm doing what I can. Like I'm outside doing hill sprints. I'm doing just like some skill work in my driveway, walking over to my aunt's house, shooting on her hoop. I know like when I get back in the gym, whenever that is, it's gonna be rough for a little bit. So definitely with you on that one.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Awesome. And then Ryan has another question. No, that's the same one. Where'd it go? Here it is. Yes. What are your favorite concepts to teach?
That's a good question. No, I love like you said, playing on a 3-man action and a ball screen, right? And it's understanding the progressions, right? So when I come off the ball screen, right, whether they're icing it or just a drag screen in the middle of the floor, right? What are my options, right? And so when you have 3 guys on the floor, right, you're coming off. First option is bigs in a flat. I'm attacking them, trying to score it, right? Trying to get downhill and score it, right? Bigs in a flat, guards fighting over the top. That big is dive into the rim. I got pocket pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the second progression, right? And the third option, right, is you come off, right? Well, there's technically 4, right? You come off, right? The big dives. Obviously, whose job is it to tag the big, right? It's that guy in the corner, right? The guy in the corner tags the big, right? So if he tags the big, my teammate who was in the corner needs to shake up or needs to lift up from the corner to the free throw line extended, right? So now I got to work that hook pass, right?
Yeah.
So, and then the fourth option would be, all right, well, if I come off, right, he's kind of playing in between the tag. Maybe he's not really a great shooter who's loaded in the corner with me, but I got a great shooter on my opposite side. I attack that nail. Hopefully, the guard that's on the wing, right, his man is plugged in at that nail. Okay, now I got kicked, right? So ball screen progressions are a great concept to teach because obviously in the league that it happens all the time, and in college it happens all the time. And being understand from a defensive standpoint how to guard that concept, and introducing like, all right, well, defensively, how are we going to guard this, right? If I switch, if we're switching everything as a guard, I got to drag him out. If that's a big switching on me, I drag him out. Now I'm what D Brown calls it. I'm in a bake sale, right? I'm trying to get downhill, right? Kind of create an opportunity where I can get a paint touch and then kick, right? Or I can get all the way to the rim, maybe get to the paint floater, right? Or all right, they're icing it. All right, well, I'm pulling him. I'm putting him on my hip. I'm pulling him over, right, inside volleyball line. Right now, I'm attacking this step up, right? Am I attacking, towards the baseline and getting downhill? Am I snaking it, right? So the ball screen, like there's so many, that's a great concept where you can teach a multitude of things, and it's such a huge part of the game, especially overseas and in the league. So that's probably my favorite concept to teach.
For sure. And on the subject, I didn't even just mention snaking the ball screen. I actually got a question about that, so I'll bring that up. Yes. In what situations would a guard snake the ball screen on offense?
Yeah.
So situationally, where would you implement that?
Yeah. So it would be when a team is icing it. So when I say ice or blue or downing it, right?
That's so funny because he literally asked that same question. What in what situation would you ice on defense? So we got 2-1 right here.
Would I personally ice? Is that what he's asking?
Yeah. So let me see. Yeah. So in what situation would you ice? So first, let's answer the guard like snaking a ball screen first. Then we'll go on to the ice question.
Yeah. So I would ice it so you ice a ball screen in a side ball screen, so side pick and roll. So where that guard is free throw line extended on the wing, right, and that big is setting a screen for him to come off to the middle, right. So if he's coming off, if he's lined up like this, basically that guard is on me and he's trying to force me towards towards the baseline, right. He's not allowing me to come off towards the middle of the floor, right? So that's what you mean by icing it. So in order to counteract that, right,
I see.
I need the big to flip the screen, right? And it's my job as a point guard is I need more room to come off and attack, right? So if I'm on the side of if I'm free throw line extended, right? If you know where the volleyball line is, I'm on the volleyball line side closer to the baseline. I don't want to be there because I don't have enough space. So I got to put him on my hip, right? Because he's already forced me to. I got to put him on my hip, right? Bring him over that volleyball line. That's a rule of thumb, right? And then that big flips his angle, right? Because he was kind of angled one way. Now he's got his shoulders and his chest towards the opposite baseline and he's setting a step up. So now I can come off, right? And obviously my objective was to get to the middle of the floor, right? So if I'm snaking it and I'm coming off, say we're on the left side of the floor, I'm coming off the left side, I want to snake it. Maybe I'm putting him in jail on my hip, and then I'm getting to the middle, right? So now I can snake it. My big can still dive to the rim, right down the slot. I still have that shake pass, right, available to me. It would be the same thing, right, if I was coming off towards the middle of the floor, right? That's what I'm essentially getting back to by snaking it, right, manipulating.
Gotcha.
So that's and for me personally, my personal belief in terms of ball screen defense, I want to switch everything. Like if I have a versatile lineup, right? If where I got Draymond Green and Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Giannis, Giannis and KD can guard bigger guys, bigger post players. So I want somebody like that where I can just switch off everything. I don't have to worry about mismatches or whatnot. I have a versatile group. So that's the concept what we believe at Georgia, and we won't, because we're trying to have versatile players. We're trying to have basketball players, positionless basketball, not only on offense but defense as well.
Gotcha. And on that subject of defense, another question we got was for ball in ISO defense, if you're guarding one-on-one, what parts of the offensive player's body are you keying in on, like the hips, the chest? Like what would you focus on in that situation to kind of give yourself the best
as
shot?
An offensive player?
As a defensive player guarding the offensive player.
Yeah, I would watch their hips, right? Because that's the most consistent thing, right? That's the thing not moving. So yeah, as a defender, I'm watching their hips. I don't want to watch their eyes because defenders' eyes are manipulative, right?
Yeah.
Because they show, and if you look at their hands, right, that guard comes here, right, he gets that second hand to it, his eyes lift. You might be thinking shot, but if
you're done,
his hips are the most consistent thing.
Yeah.
Right. That's where guys, get put on mixtapes and all this crazy stuff is because they're looking at what they shouldn't be looking at, the eyes, second hand to it, right? And I mean, but it's hard to guard. Like the great players are hard to guard, and they do a great job selling. I was just watching Devin Williams. I was at 10,000 Hours, and he was going over Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady, every time he went to his hesitation pull up, it looked exactly the same. He'd hesitate, maybe go between his legs. He'd hesitate, load step and get downhill, or he'd hesitate right into his shot. So it all looked the same. So from the offensive end, like if you can make your hesitation pull up or a certain move look the same, but you can make multiple counters or decisions on that, it's tough, man. It's definitely tough to guard. That's why the best players in the league are who they are, and so yeah.
Love it. Well, we'll get back to some questions in a few minutes, but I want to dive into the whole topic of taking care of your body and nutrition, like that. I'm just curious, from your experience working at the college level for a few years now, what have you seen at that level at Kansas and at UIC, and obviously you're relatively new at Georgia, but in your experience working at the college level, what does the nutrition typically look like for those guys? Is it something they look at all, or is it kind of just like an afterthought? What's the situation like?
Yeah, so I would say at the UIC level, nutrition heavily relies upon a strength coach. And salute to Gabe Derman, man, one of the best strength coaches in the business. His history is he was at Texas, he was at Washington, and now he's the head strength coach at UIC. And I learned a ton from him because not to knock whoever was prior, but at UIC before I got there, it was zebra cakes, it was Harold's chicken before games, it was totally unhealthy stuff. And Gabe came right in and changed that, man. He changed our training table. He was incredible. Every week got Costco, healthy protein bars, fresh vegetables, frozen fruit, turkey, PB, like good PB&J, like organic peanut butter, carrots, apples, like that was just in our locker room. That was just snacks, right?
Yeah.
And everything was healthy, was on point. It wasn't the unhealthy granola bars. Like it was the good stuff. And for me, I was super thankful because when I'm on court all day or I'm in the office, like I knew I was gonna have a good meal every day thanks to him. And he and obviously with UIC, I mean, we have a pretty good budget, but it's not obviously an SEC or Big 12. So he was incredible with that. Before every game, it'd be salmon, grilled chicken, three different vegetable options, fresh fruit, always water. That was the biggest thing that caught my eye. Is how
that's before every game.
You said what?
That's before every game.
Yeah, so the night before, a great meal, right? And then morning we'd have a great breakfast.
Awesome. Yeah.
A great breakfast, and then 5 hours pregame, another great meal like dinner. And guys were able to take to-go boxes if they needed to. He'd buy extra, breakfast sandwiches or whatever, to give guys to take home. So we'd have a lot of extra food for guys to take back to their apartments, so they could, he'd give them protein powder, just muscle milk or whatever it may be for guys that need to put on weight. And he made a major impact, not only for the guys but for me too, because like I'm still learning how to eat properly, and I think I've came a long way because of him. And
for sure,
shout out to my guy, Coach Gabe Derman, man. If you're watching this, love, bro.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, I've heard definitely varying stories depending on what school you look at as far as the nutrition, and sometimes it's whoa, what is going on? Like you said, zebra cakes and when I was playing college for a little bit, my freshman year, pregame and postgame meals were very questionable. And obviously the budget definitely plays a role and like that, but it definitely helps having someone leading it that really cares about it and is putting the players in a position to succeed, because they're not going to go out of their way to eat healthy for the most part. Some guys will, but if you put something in front of them, say, hey, just eat this, most of them are going to eat it without a question.
Yeah.
So that's dope. And then for you personally, I know something we talked about before is the whole idea of leading by example. How important is that in terms of just being overall healthy, and then also in terms of basketball? How important is leading by example in terms of getting guys to buy in and really listen to what you're trying to have them do?
Yeah, when you're holding guys to a high standard and holding them accountable, if you're taking the same precautions, to your training, to your diet, they're gonna really rock with that, and they're gonna respect that. Right? You can keep up with them. We're going through a workout, and I'm the point guard. I'm with the big, and he's rim running, and he's rim running hard. Right, if I'm sprinting up the floor with him, right, looking for the trail, right, I'm coming off a ball screen, I'm giving him a great pass, right, maybe we're finishing with a 3-minute run, I'm gonna run it with you, right, I'm running with you, and you better compete with me, right, because I'm gonna give you my best. Right? That's another thing is guys that will tell guys to do this, but they're like, man, you're not doing it with me. You don't know what this feels like. You don't know how tired I am. No, I know how tired you are because I do it too. I just did it this morning, right? I'm at the sand, doing this, right? I worked out myself too, and I'm getting in with you. Let's go, man. Like, I'm on court all day. Like,
Yeah.
let's do this. And I just feel better. I just feel better about myself.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, I just feel healthier. Like, I can't stand not doing anything all day and just sitting in an office chair. Like, I just feel sluggish. I feel sick, and I've come to the point now is like, I can't, like, I'm really like what foods I eat. Like, I know it sits with me. Like, if I have, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, love Taco Bell. Like, that was like a weakness of mine, right? But like, now when I eat it, I'm like I feel so like I need to go sweat this out. I need to get this out of my system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, my entire diet, like, especially the summertime during quarantine, like, I was disciplined on it, and I lost like the necessary fat I needed. I was, super focused on my core, and I know by having those habits, especially coming to Georgia, like, those guys are high level, so I got to make sure I'm, working even harder, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think when you lead by example, right, obviously your players, have their respect for you, but it's just better for your life and your livelihood. I just think
Oh
like I
yeah.
just feel better.
Sure.
So that's my biggest advice to coaches everywhere. Like, some guys can do it and get away with it. Trust me, I can't, because I put on weight like it's nothing. Like, James Harden puts on weight probably really easy, and he's locked into his nutrition, right? I'm not LeBron, or I'm not some of these freak genetic guys who can maybe get away with it, and then they can show up and perform to incredible levels. So, yeah, man, that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, no, I think especially if any coaches or trainers, I mean, it should be pretty obvious for players, like, this stuff matters. Like, if you don't have your nutrition dialed in, you're really like leaving performance on the table. But like, as a coach, as a trainer, like, you're in the gym all day, you got to be focused, you got to be ready to go. And if you got to hop into a workout with some guys, like, you better be fueled, and you're just
Yeah.
going to feel better. You're going to be able to get more out of your workouts, get more out of your practices, get more out of your team. So, if any coaches or trainers are watching this, nutrition is just as important for you as it is for any players watching this. So
Yeah.
definitely a really important point there. Now,
And can I add something? Can I add something real quick?
for sure,
Another
yeah,
thing too is sleep. Is sleep and I would say mobility and yoga.
yeah,
Because when you're on court for that long, like, your hips will get tight, your hamstrings get tight. If you're not taking care of your body and that, you're gonna tighten up, and it's gonna be worse. It's just gonna layer on. And I've experienced that. And obviously getting good sleep, because for the long hours I'm working, I'm getting to bed and I gotta get to sleep. Right? I gotta get rested, because I gotta be able to recover for the next morning. And that goes for players. And I know you know that. And if you want to add on to that, that's I think that's really important.
oh yeah, no, it's great because I'm always saying this stuff, so it's always good for it to come from someone else. So it's not just me saying this. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at the research too, it's pretty obvious. If you're gonna do one thing for your performance, sleep. Like, it's like the easiest way to drastically improve how you perform, how you feel. Like, I know even if I go from like 8 hours to 7, which is still like not bad, but I still
Right.
feel it. It's like I feel much better getting a consistent 8 hours and like a 7.
Yep.
6 is like, people think 6 is okay, but it's really not. Um, and there was a study a while back that did it with like Stanford basketball players. I brought it up a couple of times, but
Mm-hmm.
they went from like 6 hours of sleep on average to 8, and then improved the 3-point percentage in a test by like 9.2%, which is absurd. Like,
Yeah.
9.2 from 3 is like a massive increase. So if you want to use that one with any of your players, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm
But
definitely stealing that. Definitely.
definitely super important. Now let's get back into a couple of questions before we have to wrap up
Yeah.
here. Let's see, what do we got? All right, cool. Another one is, who's the hardest player you've seen or trained? What was their schedule like?
It's a great question.
Yeah, Maddie's got all the good questions today.
Yeah, no, definitely, Matt. Shout out to you, bro. Really great questions. No, man, I've been fortunate to work with a number of players. college, NBA, WNBA, and I think I put up a post not too long ago. The biggest thing that stands out to them is their motor and their self accountability and their
Yeah.
focus and their attention to detail. So players that emulate that, number one, I got to say Jalen Brunson. Just seeing him for the longest, ever since I was, a freshman in high school. Obviously, he's a tireless worker. He's one of the hardest workers, I've ever been around. And his schedule, like most NBA guys' schedule, or like the guys that are like Kobe, they're getting a skill workout in the day, right? Maybe it's two, right? They're getting their strength and conditioning in, right? They're getting their yoga mobility in, right? Maybe
Yeah.
they're playing fives, right? And it's maybe three of those in a day, whatever it may be, right? Maybe they're doing a more ball handling, ball dominant, skill session where it's a lot of pick and roll. He's getting to his spots, finishes, boom, right? That's his workout in the morning. Then he's going to EFT or whatever it may be for strength conditioning, and then he's getting maybe mass shots at night, or maybe he's playing pickup later, right? And he's getting great nutrition, right, in between. He's going to Chipotle. He's getting it's a healthy meal. It's not McDonald's. It's not anything that's bad. So, tireless worker. Another one would be Nick Zeisloft, former Indiana guy that played for Coach Crean. When we worked out, he'd come to UIC obviously because he played for Coach McClain at Indiana when Coach McClain was there. And he'd be so detailed. I got to make 150 shots, and I want you to keep track of them, Pete. Right? I got to make 150. How many are we making? Out of that, right, Pete? Can you give me some? Can you give me some? Some tape or whatever, or some ice or whatever it may be from the training room. All right, now I got to go to my yoga, or I have to go, like I said, strength conditioning or whatever it may be. So guys have a schedule. Guys set their day. The real professionals set their day around their workout schedule. It's not, I might work out, but I'm gonna go play golf, or I'm gonna go hang out with my friends, or the real professionals, they get their work done, man. And they make time. There's time for fun. There's time for
For sure.
for fun, like good stuff like that. But the real pros, they're locked in on their routine and what they have to do at the end of the day. So Jalen Brunson, Nick Zeisloff, Lene Harper, played for the Sky, Devontae Graham, Svi Mykhailiuk, D Brown, who's a coach at UIC, still works like he's a player, and dude's got like one hip, like he's got a whole rod in his hip from.
It's crazy.
When he finished his pro career, and that dude will work like he's a player, like he's trying to make the league. He just loves the game that much, and he gave me so much knowledge. I'd be ashamed if I didn't mention him on this podcast, because he works so hard, and obviously incredible success at Illinois, incredible success in the NBA overseas. But players like that, man, there's a reason why they're successful. It's a reason why Jalen Brunson's got 2 national championships. It's the reason why Devontae Graham should be a most improved player this year for the Charlotte Hornets. It's a reason why D Brown went all the way to the Final Four and had a long career. It's that level of work ethic and that level of accountability. You know what I'm saying? So, big shout out to those guys.
Absolutely. And then another question we got was, besides playing basketball, like you said, what are some conditioning drills I should do besides like running a mile?
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite conditioning drills to implement?
Love the hills, love sand workouts. I think sand workouts where you activate a lot of muscles that are unused, like in your feet, just in your body in general, and it just makes you work 10 times harder. Right. There's a number of them on YouTube. You can follow my guy By Any Means Basketball on Instagram. He's got a lot of great. Shout out my guy C. A lot of great content on his page for sand workouts, different HIIT workouts, high intensity, type workouts. Like you said, like I think running a mile at a hard pace is better than running 5 miles at a decent average slow pace. But when you can add some type of resistance, whether it be a hill, sand, I love it. I love getting my work done, right? If I can get a good hill workout in 30 minutes, a good sand workout in 30 minutes, I don't need to be out there all day, just kind of kicking along. I want to push myself to extreme limits where I got to recover in a short amount of time. And when you can recover in short amount of time, right, that's going to play to your conditioning. But like you said, basketball, the best way to get in basketball shape is play basketball. So, no, great question.
Love it. And then I think we got time for like one more. So
yeah, I can go all. Bro, trust, I'm in Athens, Georgia, all by myself, so we can go as long as you want, man.
We'll try to get through all these questions then. Perfect.
Yeah, go through them, bro. I got nothing to do, man. I'm just enjoying my time right here. You give me a lot of energy right here. I'm loving this.
Perfect. All right, Maddie, with another question. I'm gonna need you to explain this one for me because I don't know. I'm not quite sure what a veer switch defense is, but let's see. Can you explain what a veer switch defense scheme when guarding a pick and roll is?
Yeah, so a veer switch essentially is, so say same thing. We're coming off that high middle pick and roll, right?
Yeah.
And that guard, if I'm coming off, right, and that guard is fighting over the top, and he gets clipped. Like he gets clipped by that screen, right? And the big that's guarding, right, is in a drop, right? So he's squaring me up, he's dropping back, right? And so what he's talking about, a veer switch is like, all right, the person who is guarding me coming off, right, he's not going to be able to square me back up and guard me. So what happens is I'm coming off, the big just ends up, who's in a drop, just switches on to me if I keep attacking downhill, and the guard veer switches on to the big that was rolling, right? So
that makes sense.
A lot of teams in the league do that. Yeah, some people call it a peel off, but a veer switch is kind of the common terminology. No, great question. And shoot, to be honest, before I got to UIC, I didn't know that. And I'm so constantly learning to this day. So just trying to pick up as much info as I can. I'm sure I'm going to learn. We have this podcast a year later after I'm done with Coach Green.
We'll definitely make that happen for sure. We'll definitely do it.
It's going to be more information. So yeah, man, that's what a veer switch is.
Love it. And then he also asked, who would you say is better at ball screens, CP3 or Steve Nash?
That's tough.
Tough one.
I think they're great. I mean, obviously, look at them. Both 6 feet, not overly athletic, not ultra quick. I think CP3 is actually pretty quick, but no, they're both great. I think Steve Nash, who's kind of a little older, maybe has to get 2-time MVP. You got to give him some love. And being the white guy is, not ultra athletic. I want to give the nod to him just because. Respecting him, but shoot, CP3 is super good. I think he's taking what Nash does and is taking it to another level. So hard to choose one, but I'll probably give it to Nash. I'll probably give it to the 2-time MVP, but CP3 is tough, man. He's super tough. So not to discredit him at all. Shoot.
For sure, and especially after what he's been doing this year so far.
Yeah. No, he's doing great with OKC. Incredible.
Yeah. For sure. And then who would you say has got the best hezzy in the league?
Ooh. He said Dennis Smith. Yeah, Dennis Smith's got a nice hezzy because he goes right into like that 2-foot dunk. KD's super nice. I just saw a clip of KD, like it was like OKC. I think it was against Phoenix, and he had a super tough hezzy. But for a guy 7 feet doing that, you gotta give him a ton of love. I don't know. That's tough. Kemba's super tough with it.
Yeah.
Obviously Kyrie. But for a guy his size doing it, I think KD's super nice with it. Shout out KD.
There you go. And then I think this is the last question we got also from Maddie. Shout out to Maddie, man. I appreciate this.
You provided a lot of great questions, a lot of great
This is great content. I appreciate it. I appreciate it,
bro. Hey, hit me on Instagram, bro. Hit me or Tommy on Instagram, man. I'd love to follow you back, bro, because you had a lot of great questions, man. If I don't follow you back already, so shout out to you, bro, for real.
Absolutely, Maddie. I saw your DMs. I got to get back to that after we get off the podcast recording. So I got you. This one I think is more for me. Is this?
Yeah, you can answer that one. I don't know.
This is a myth. Carrots can improve my vision on the court. So, it's one of those things that, like, I always say, like, there really is no like specific superfood that's gonna like drastically improve anything. As long as you have an overall balanced diet, you'll be fine. Now, the whole carrots improving vision thing has to do with the carotenoids in there. they help with something going on in your eyes. I forget the exact mechanism. I can't recall that off the top of my head right now, but certain vitamins and stuff impact your vision. And in theory, you could say they would improve your vision on the court. I would include them in your diet just because they're healthy overall. Probably not going to make or break anything, but why not include them? So
I
would
put
be.
them in my smoothie this morning, so I'm hoping it
You put
helps.
carrots in your smoothie?
I usually put carrots or spinach. Usually I put spinach.
Really?
But I don't even
I've
taste
heard
it.
of spinach before, but do carrots affect the taste at all?
No, I mean I use a protein powder from Costco, just like it's like a cookies and cream protein powder, and I really just taste that. So I'll put in blueberries, mangoes. Usually I put spinach in, but I put in carrots today because I ran out of spinach, and I just knew it was going to be a good vegetable source, and blended it up, and it tasted like cookies and cream. So like, I mean,
Damn.
it did the trick for me. Like, you really
There
don't
you go.
taste the vegetables if you have. I mean,
Yeah.
if you have, or sometimes I'll put like peanut butter in it, and it'll just taste like peanut butter, like a peanut butter shake.
Yeah.
People are probably really grossed out or weird, but I'm like, it works for me. It gets
Yeah,
my
no, I'm with you on
nutrients.
that.
It gets my
Yeah,
nutrients. So
I'm
yeah.
with you on that. I mean, I've definitely done spinach before, and that's one I always recommend. I guess I'll have to recommend carrots now too, because I would have thought
Yeah,
that
you don't
I would have
taste
thought
it.
carrots would have like affected the taste, but guess
Mm-mm.
not.
Mm-mm.
Cool. And I almost forgot. I got a couple questions before we started recording, so they're
Yeah,
not
go
on.
ahead.
I have them in my notes, so I'll just read them off.
Go ahead.
Let me pull them up. Let's see. One of them, I can't pronounce the name, but it was asking, what was your favorite thing about being at USC? Like over your time there, what was your favorite part?
Man, my favorite thing was, I think I talked about before, was being with D Brown, being with our guys, our players. I love that. Made relationships that last a lifetime. Like Jamie Hale, who was going to be a senior there this year, probably one of my best friends from the team. He's an Australian guy, so like me and him, obviously it was super tough, telling him I had to go, but he's like, Pete, like, this doesn't stop, man. Like, we're going to be doing basketball clinics in
Yeah.
Australia. We're going to be, the brotherhood lasts a lifetime for all those guys, not just Jamie. It's for Rob, Mike Diggins, Jacob Wiley, Dion. Make sure I shout out everybody. But yeah, man, it was a great group and great coaching staff. But also just being in Chicago and being able to have, obviously it was unfortunate not having like an NBA pre-draft, because we would have had the spring. Shoot, we would have had not hundreds, but like dozens of NBA people come through, not only players, but GMs, scouts, and as people who work for UIC, like, we're able to be in the gym and help. And
Yeah.
that, like, we hosted the Warriors. I got to work out an overseas pro in front of, one of the assistant scouts for the Magic. I was able to, and I was able to see, my like Devontae, like when he visited town, Jalen, when the Mavericks would play. So that was nice, just being home and being close to family, having them come to the games. But just the people, bro. Like, the people at UIC were great. Dan Wallace, our SID, Yapchik, everybody, man. Like, everybody was so great and so welcoming to me and showed a lot of love. So Mike G, Jenny Williams, I got to shout out everybody in here, man. So great. They're great people, man. But Georgia, like, just our staff too, man. Like, it's incredible here as well. Super thankful just to go from one great
Yeah.
situation to another. Great staff over at Kansas too. And the people in the video department, men's basketball, women's basketball, everybody, man. So thankful to be around great people. I think that's what makes an experience awesome.
For sure, for sure. And the last question we got from JT Conwell asking, as someone who is an aspiring college coach, how did you network yourself so well? Because I definitely think that's a strength of yours.
Yeah. Like I said before, it was putting myself in situations, in circles where I would meet the people that could hopefully, help me after we created a genuine relationship. So
Yeah.
working with the Mac Urban Fire, like, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have met a number of college coaches doing that. Obviously, not to say like, oh, go be a videographer and just, do that thing. But I mean, that's the unconventional route I took. But like, if you're going to be in college, like, be a manager. Like, if you're not going to play, be a manager. And, that's how you build a relationship with that coaching staff. Right. And I'm sure those coaches, they're all connected. They've all, came up in the industry. So they'll put you on it. And it's happened to me, right? Obviously, being a GA, it's like, all right, well, I'm working for, I've worked with for a number of staffs or worked with people, from all over. And, even just now being in like kind of the Tom Crean tree, it's like, hey, Pete, talk to this guy who's with the Memphis Hustle. He worked with Coach Crean as a GA. Talk with, Aaron Weaver, who's with the Pacers. He used to work for Coach Crean. So people are, thankfully being able to put me in position. But it starts with putting yourself and doing sometimes work for free. Go volunteer to yourself for a great coach, like maybe a player development coach, or send out emails to a coach in your area, even if it's Division 3, Division 2, like, or NAI, or JUCO. Like, hey, coach, can I come to your practice just to watch and take notes? And that in itself goes a long way because they respect your grind. You're doing it for free. You're putting value, and you're investing your time, and that goes a long way. And I've seen it, because I've done it. So I think that's a great way, is just how do you offer value to other people, whether you're rebounding for them or offering your time, right, to go try and learn and just try to really build a genuine relationship. That's the biggest thing. It's not, oh, how can you connect me, how can no go offer some type of service, or just ask to learn, and just like, can I sit in on this? That's where I think it really starts.
Absolutely, for sure. Definitely agree with everything you said there. And now, as we're wrapping up, just one more question I always ask everyone this morning with the podcast is, if you had to give one piece of advice to an athlete, or in this case, even a coach, it could be on the court stuff, off the court stuff, wherever you want to take this, what would be like the biggest piece of advice that you could offer?
I mean, I kind of gave it a little way just talking about last time, but just be willing to just work, just be doing the dirty work.
Absolutely.
Like I said, it's being willing to offer your time for free. Wake up at 5:30 a.m., get to the gym at 6, just to be there for, your coach, because Coach McClain, he's an early riser. So I know I get there at 6 a.m. every day. So if he needs me, I'm there. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not the most talented guy. Trust me. I'm not, the smartest when it comes to film, or when it comes to, different ATOs, or, or like I said, I'm still a work in progress when it comes to player development. But I promise you, I will be there to help clean up the food at the end of the night. Right. I promise I'll wipe down whatever you need me to wipe down. I'll try to put this together for you, to make sure it's good for tomorrow. It's just doing the work that no one else wants to do. I think that goes a long way. Right. So that's my biggest advice, is just, if you really want it, if you really want to achieve a goal, right? A lot of people talk about it, but you have to be willing to sacrifice.
Oh yeah.
And do whatever you can to help, right? It's got to be bigger than you. You have to be in this business to impact others in a positive way. Because that's the only, and that's, I put in my quote in everything I do, is the only thing we leave on this earth is how we impact others. How do we serve others? You know what I mean? How do we pay it forward to other people, right? Because we're not going to be able to take, our, the money, or, the fame, or whatever it may be, right? At the end of the day, when, like I said, for my belief, we'll go to heaven, right? God's going to judge you on how you served others, and obeyed His word. So that's my biggest thing that I hope that I can leave people with.
Love it. And where can everyone keep up with what you're doing, or keeping up with your new journey in Georgia and everything you got going on? Where's the best place for people to find you at?
Yeah. So obviously, when I was with Mac Irvin Fire, like the OG Chicago people noticed, I created my video channel was called Lit Fuse Productions, and so I've always kind of kept Lit Fuse. People will call me Lit. Some people will call me Fuse. People call me Pete. You know, Peter. What you can call me whatever as long as it's respectful at the end of the day. But
For sure.
yeah, man, you can follow me at LitFuse, LITFUSE _. Yep, just put it in the little description right there. Yeah, man, I'm pretty good about reaching out and hitting people back. You know, that's on Instagram and Twitter. So yeah, man, those where you can reach me. My email is Fusilero, my last name Peter at gmail.com. If you want to hit me. So, yeah, man, looking forward to connecting with anybody who watched this. Appreciate your time, Tommy, having me on. Let me, kind of speak a little bit. I feel like I'm kind of going crazy, just, kind of isolated and here by myself. So it's kind of good just to
I feel you on that
talk,
one.
man, and connect.
The quarantine is definitely starting. I'm more of an introverted person, so like at first I didn't mind it. It was kind of nice, like being able to sit in my office and work on content all day and like talk. I just talk to clients, but like other than that, just like be in my own little world. But now I'm kind of like I got to get out. So it's definitely good. That's the good thing about podcasting. It's great to connect with other people, and I really appreciate you coming on. I know I learned a ton in this hour and 20 minutes. But you do a really good job. I know you kind of sell yourself short on this, but you do a really good job of explaining the basketball concepts. Like when you're talking, I can like visualize it in my head. I feel like I got a really good understanding when you're explaining certain concepts and reads and stuff like that. So really want to give you props for that. And yeah, I appreciate you coming on. And for you guys watching till the end, I really appreciate y'all. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button down below if you enjoyed this. I'd really appreciate it. And I post new videos on here about, 3 times a week, talking about nutrition tips, stuff like that for basketball, like we were talking about earlier. Super important stuff. If you're a hooper, if you're a coach, this stuff will benefit you or your players respectively. And just recently started these live interviews. The first one went up last week. We got this one today. Got 2 more coming next week. So lots of cool stuff going down on the channel. Would appreciate it if y'all subscribe and follow along if you enjoy it. So Pete, any last words before we bounce?
No, I just want to second that, man. You guys need to follow Tommy, man. All the guys, the players that follow me, Tommy is an up and coming, man. How he's selling himself short, the amount of knowledge that he has, and the amount of research and study that he's done. Follow this guy, man, because trust me, I'm learning obviously for my personal health, every single day, and I'm not even playing anymore. And so I just want to second and credit everything you've done, you've put into it, your graphics to this podcast, to everything you've done, man. Salute to you. You're on your way up, bro. Like I won't be surprised if NBA teams come knocking on your door to be nutrition and shoot. One day, or shoot, if Georgia needs one, you're gonna be the first one I call, 100%.
I appreciate that, man.
You know what I'm saying? And wherever I end up, bro, and people look for nutritionists, I'm Tommy Clark. That's the guy. So I appreciate you having me on, brother. Appreciate you letting me hopefully share my story a little bit, some good gems, and I appreciate everything you do, bro, and appreciate all the knowledge you give me as well.
Thank you, man. It means a lot. And I mean, I feel like definitely sometimes I think we all do. I think most people who are like really like invested in what they do tend to sell themselves short. And usually that's a good thing, because like you said earlier, we're always looking to get better, always looking to improve, always learn. Like you never really feel like you know enough. Like I'm sure you could relate in basketball. Like you're always learning new things, finding new things, trying to soak it up. So definitely appreciate the kind words. And guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Drop a like, subscribe, all that great stuff. I appreciate you guys sticking around to the end. And we will see you guys next time. And also while I have you guys here, there's a new video dropping tomorrow at noon. So not an interview, but a video dropping tomorrow at noon. So make sure you guys check that out. And with that, have a good rest of your night.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Tommy, man. We'll talk soon, brother.